everybody. Welcome to That Expert Show, where you help run the show. I'm Anna Canzano. Thank you so much for being with us on this show today. Today, we're talking about avoiding scams. This can affect all of us at some point. We've all seen the news stories, but when you really get down to it, do you know how to protect yourself and your family and your friends from, clicking on that one thing that looks so inviting and exposing yourself potentially to scammers who would love to do nothing more than to hold your accounts hostage and dig into your financials and leave you out thousands of dollars of money. I know that's happened. It's happened to family members of mine who are smart, college-educated folks who just basically fell victim to this vulnerability in one particular area of their lives. So it's something that I've covered for years and years as a reporter, and our guest today actually also worked decades in television news. She's won multiple Emmys working as an undercover investigative reporter, exposing criminals from all walks of life. Her reports now focus more on the cutting edge of cybersecurity and really revealing to people the seamy underbelly of the internet, all in the effort still to help you, to help your family, and to help the people that you know. Joining us live right now is my colleague, Kerry Tomlinson. Kerry, thanks so much for being with us.
So glad to be here, Anna. So awesome to see you again, by the way.
Good to see you as well. Kerry and I were actually practically desk mates. Like, we would share snacks while we were at work at the ABC affiliate here in Portland. Kerry, I love what you were doing now. I love that you have honed in on cybersecurity as your expertise, because this was always something that you were on the forefront of in terms of knowledge. I would love to start just by asking you, what are you seeing now in terms of the trends when it comes to scams?
The number one trend right now is people posing as someone that you know or someone you think you know online, and then tricking you into doing something as simple as clicking. And if you think about it this way, in the past, robbers had to come to your house, break a window, get inside, maybe wait for you to leave, take your stuff. They had to wait for you to walk down a dark alley. They had to wait for you to leave your car so they could break your car window and get in. Now, all they have to do is send you a message. And most of us click on the message. We are all primed to click. So the number one trend right now is bad guys sending you messages in some form. It could be a text message, it could be an email, it could be a push notification. That's one of the notifications that comes up on your phone. It could be through your work email. And they send you something and they make you want to check it out. They make you want to click it. It's that easy. And unfortunately, this kind of attack is bringing down multi-million-dollar companies. The attackers are getting millions of dollars from companies, turning them to bankruptcy. They're also getting thousands of dollars from you and me. They're hurting us. In addition to that, you may go, well, I've never lost thousands to a scammer, so I'm okay. Well, in addition to that, through these messages, they can install malware, malicious software on your machine, on your phone, on your laptop, on your computer, on your tablet, and they can use your device to secretly attack you, to sell your information on the internet to other attackers who may wait a few years before they attack you, and also to attack other people. So you can be part of these attacks that take down hospitals, for example, or maybe a power plant. Right, exactly.
One thing that you said there is that they can actually trick you by sending you a push notification. So it's something that you think you should push on or tap because it's on your phone, and you thought you might have set a notification like that?
Yes, so they can create messages that look real on your machine. A lot of it is, for example, let's say you go to the App Store. If people are familiar with their phones and they want to download a cool app, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's a game that someone else is playing, and you go to the various app stores. Well, the bad guys are getting really good at creating apps that look pretty real. So you may see a game, well, my friend told me about zombie grannies, so I'm going to look for zombie grannies. Well, that looks like zombie grannies, and I download it. That app can send you push notifications if it's an evil app, and there have been cases of evil zombie granny apps. It can send you a push notification, and you respond to it. You think I'm doing the right thing, and in reality, you've let the bad guys in. And
Oh,
that's why we
wow.
all need to kind of take a step back and say, okay, let's talk about this so I can think about this while I'm going through my daily life and just clickety click, tap, 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 swipe, swipe, swiping.
Wow, that's crazy. Can you give us an example of some of the types of messages that they would send you either via text or maybe a private message or in an email that have been most commonly, effective with people clicking on them? I know I think I've been so close because I've gotten messages that say like, "Hey, are you in this video?" And the curiosity in you goes, "Oh, I better click on that. Like, what if it is me?" And then boom, you're in trouble.
Right. And there are so many messages they can send you. There are different levels. For example, there is spear phishing where someone is really wanting to bust you. Maybe you work at a company, maybe you're a receptionist at a company, and they want to get into your email and get your password so they can attack everybody else at the company and drain the company of millions of dollars. Company's out of business, you're out of a job. So that's when they really focus on you. When they're not really focusing on you, there are lots of general messages. I just got one last night, exactly like you described. It was from one of my real friends on Facebook. The bad guys hacked his account, got in, and sent out messages. And it says, "Are you in this video?" And it has a bunch of cute emojis. And of course, I like my friend, and my friend, I've known him for many years, and maybe there is a video that he took of me, or he knows someone who took one of me. So the temptation is very strong. That's a really typical one that people fall for.
Hmm.
Facebook messages are not safe. Anytime someone asks you to click in a Facebook message, there is a potential that it is an attacker. So you want to be really careful. For example, if it's just one line and says, "Are you in this video?" or it's just a link, or it says, "Just check this out," respond to the person and say, "Did you mean to send me this?" And see,
Mm-hmm.
because if the attacker has a hold of their account, then they may respond. You're always safer not to click. If it's really your friend, they can try to contact you another way. You
Right.
can try to contact them another way.
Yeah.
So the Facebook message scam is very typical. Another one is via email. That is a huge one. And that is where they will send something that is tempting to you. It may be New Year's Eve party invite. It may be, "Oh, check out the salaries of all your coworkers." It may, yes, it may be, "Oh, new research on something that they think you might be interested in."
Mm-hmm.
And then you click, and then they'll get through to you. And really, the solution, because they're so good, the solution is to talk about it and think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just hearing about something like this, maybe in an interview like this, if you happen to hear about it from this or from a friend, it will at least give you that second of pause before you click on something. We did have people post on social media. We post about the topic coming up, as always, on the Thursday before our Monday show. So Lloyd, for example, on Facebook wanted to talk about all of those callers. So there's so many scam calls that come in these days, and he wants to talk about how, he mentioned that you can buy software or buy some kind of protection from scam calls, but what is your recommendation for people? Because we've all had that. We've all had random phone calls come into your phone from numbers that you don't recognize that even look local. But for myself, I don't even answer a phone call anymore unless I know who it's from.
Well, that's exactly right. And that is what many security experts do, is they just don't answer their phone if you don't know who it is. And what you want to do is you want to put in names for all of the phone numbers of people you know, all your contacts. And when you get a number that you don't recognize, let it go to voicemail. If that person doesn't leave a voicemail, that's their problem. That's not your problem. They can leave a voicemail for you. Many of us are trained to believe we should answer the phone immediately. The newer generation is not so trained to believe that. But those of us who maybe grew up before text messages, we are trained to believe if that phone rings, we must answer it. And it's just not the case. That person can leave a voice message. And if they don't, that's not your problem. When the bad guys are looking for people, they use automated callers. They use automated callers. They call millions of numbers, and they check to see if you answer. And if you answer, they send you through to maybe a live operator or a recorded operator who wants to scam you. So even just answering tells them, "Oh, this person answers their phone." And then
Mm-hmm.
you get put on the sucker list, of people who answer the phone, and then you're going to get more and more and more and more calls. So the answer is to not answer.
That is brutal. Okay, glad to know I'm already doing something wise in that department.
Yes.
Tracy had a good point. She wanted some hints about talking points between adult children and their elderly parents regarding scams, what to do, but not lead to a belittling conversation. Basically, elders, some just aren't schooled in how to just hang up. The IRS isn't going to call and demand money from you. There's the grandkid scam where people pose as someone's grandchild saying, hey, I'm stuck in jail somewhere. I need you to wire me money. How do we have this conversation with parents who may not be tech savvy and, in a way that doesn't diminish their self-confidence?
Yes, and this is a very difficult issue. For decades, I have covered stories where elderly people have fallen for these exact same scams. The grandparent scam, where someone calls up and says, Grandma, and grandma says, oh, yes, and then sends money and helps the person. This is a very successful scam. So what I do with my elderly relatives is I talk with them and say, these are the stories that I'm reading about, in my case, actually covering. This is what I'm actually covering. What you can say, these are the stories I'm hearing about, and this is what is happening out there. And speak to them as you would want to be spoken to. This is what is happening out there. And then gauge their level of response. Are they really understanding? What happens as we get older is we get more and more trusting and more believing. You may notice this with your own children. They'll see something, for example, on YouTube, and they'll believe it's real, that these merry pranksters are just magically doing these wonderful things at the first try. And you have to gently explain to them, these things are done for show. With children, they grow older and they learn more. With elderly people, they get more and more trusting. And so what you need to do is gauge how capable are they of warding off these scammers. For example, if they are unable to answer the phone, then you can do some technology changes, and you can eliminate their landline and get them a phone that only certain numbers will ring through. And that way, and you can talk to them about it and say, if you feel that you have to answer the phone when it rings, let's come up with a solution where it only rings when it's one of your contacts, one of the people you know, your doctor's office or something like that. So it's working with that person in a very respectful way and saying, these are the actual scams that are out there, and this is really happening to real people, your neighbors, people you know. What can we do together and technology-wise to help you? And if they really are too trusting, then you need to take technology steps to help them.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I love that, providing them a phone that only rings when their contacts actually call. I want to bring up the case where a family member of mine who, she's on the verge of graduating college here in the next few years and is actively looking for jobs, trying to start her career. And I thought it was really interesting because it was the first time I'd heard of this one. Somebody reached out to her via LinkedIn, which you think you can trust, and basically was offering the notion of a job, wanted her to complete all of these tasks, and then proceeded to run the typical scam gamut of, here, I'm going to send you a check for a few $1,000s, deposit this check, and then go and buy these cash cards or gift cards in these amounts and deliver them to this location. Victim does all those things thinking that she's earning her way toward a job, only to find out that that check that she deposited is not valid, no good, and she's out a few $1,000s in the end. Have you heard of this one and the fact that it's coming through LinkedIn?
Yes, LinkedIn is a playground for scammers. So is Facebook, so is Twitter, so is Instagram. All the social media platforms are places where these scammers know they can put up a picture and a quick couple lines about themselves, and we will believe it. LinkedIn is how international spies work. LinkedIn, all they have to do is create a profile, connect to you. You want to connect with people. It's LinkedIn. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to link with them. You connect with them. They send you a message about some opportunity or some connection. You think, I'm doing the right thing by networking. This is what LinkedIn is all about. And then they convince you to do something. The problem is that we believe if we see a picture and a name, we believe that's the actual person. And we all have to take a step back and say, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all the platforms, remember that this is where the scammers hang out. This is where they lurk. It's not easy anymore because when you meet a person in person, you get to sort of assess, is this person kind of slimy maybe? That doesn't always work. There's plenty of scammers who don't seem slimy. But on LinkedIn and on the internet, we've allowed ourselves to believe that if there's a picture, it's a person, and they're taking an interest in me, and they want me for a job, or they just want to chat with me. They just want to talk about my work. They want to learn more about my work. They're excited about my work. That's how international spies get into big companies and destroy big companies.
Wow.
That's exactly how they do it. It's the interest in you. So what you need to do is when you get something, you step back and say, who is this person and how do I know? And what you're going to find out is, I don't know who this person is. You can answer, but you want to proceed with caution. And you always want to check with a real live friend in real life. You always want to check and say, hey, so I got a message on LinkedIn and this person is super interested in me. And this is what they're saying. And, if your friend falls for it too, at least you tried. But that way, as you're talking about it, you can say, do I really know and then maybe your friend says, yeah, go for it. And you go, but you know what? Now that I'm talking about it, I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
They want to flatter you. The bad guys want to tell you you're great for the job, or you're great for this, or you're great for a model shoot. You just have to say, I don't know, and stop being so flattered that you just give in and do what people want.
It's really interesting to me because the scammers do prey on those character vulnerabilities. Like they're preying on your pride, or the fact that you need a job, or often with elderly folks, they're preying on just their sheer loneliness. Like, hey, I've got somebody to talk to. And it makes me really sad. It makes me sad for the people that I know that you and I have both encountered over the years. Like a woman that I knew who lost nearly $500,000 to a Nigerian scam and still was believing in the scam toward the end. I mean, it was just really heartbreaking to watch that happen. Another scam that I guess I need to do a better job of educating my family members, because yet another family member of mine fell victim to an Instagram scam where she saw clothes on an Instagram page that were really in her wheelhouse of what she loved. And they were for an astonishingly great price out of some, shop in New York. She made her selections, sent the money via some cash app, and boom, next day, Instagram account deleted, no sign that it ever existed, clothes never arrived, and cash was out of hand.
Yes, I've noticed that especially younger folks, but also older folks, want to believe that through the internet you can get things for free. And if you can, ask yourself, why would this company do this? And if this company is willing to do this, why do I have to do it right now? Why can't I wait and research? Why can't I close the laptop or turn off the phone and go do something else, and a couple days later come back and do the same thing?
Like a normal retailer would offer, basically.
Right. I definitely see in my children this desire to believe that there are free things on the internet and that there is no reason that this retailer would do it. And if you say, now, wait a second, money, think about money. If there is a company, how can they afford to sell these clothes for so cheaply? How could they possibly do it? And my children say, well, because they want to, because they want attention. And you say, this is not a business model that will be sustainable. So think about it, stop, and always the right choice is to miss out on the great deal. That's always the right choice. There will always be another deal coming down the line. Also, do research when you see that. Do research and ask about that, because you will find many of these scams have been done over and over and over and over again, and it's just now reaching you and your circle of friends and contacts. So do the research and ask friends, and always miss out. There's always going to be another opportunity Just miss out. Get used to missing out on things. Half of them are scams anyway. The other half, you'll get another chance.
So then let me ask you this, and this delves more into the tech side of things. I guess I don't fully understand after all these years. I still don't fully understand what's so bad. Like when I, am on my phone or on my laptop and I click on a link, that's bad. Whether it's what you call it, spear phishing if they're
Right?
targeting me, or just general phishing. What happens? Like what exactly happens on the tech side of things that makes me so vulnerable after hitting one click?
Right. And this is important. The thing is they can do many, 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 many different things. So we'll just look at a couple examples. Let's say you're at work. We mentioned you're the receptionist at a company. What if you work in the HR department at a company and you click on that link? Well, you have now allowed them to access your computer. Well, what do you have on your computer? You have your work accounts. What they often do is if they just want to imitate you, they'll send an email to someone else in your company asking for money, or asking for company letterhead, or asking for something that will help them get ahead, asking for them for the name of the person in charge of the money, for example, who does the wiring of money in our business. And then you write back, or the other person writes back, and they delete the email. So you're the HR person. You have no idea that all this is going on your account, because they have control of your account. So they can use you to socially engineer other people in your company until they bring the company down, until they steal all the money from the company and you get fired because the company can't afford to keep you anymore. They can also get into the network, the computer network. And from there, they can actually attack the network and do things. They can hold your system hostage so that the company is frozen. You can't do any work, and the company has to pay a large amount of money, and it's a huge disruption, and you just want to bang your head into the computer, and you may end up without a job. So things like that can happen on the work level, which is obviously terrible. But the same things can happen to you personally. Ransomware is not as popular on phones right now. It hasn't gotten there, but anything the bad guys can do to make money, they will do. So right now they're getting a lot of money from businesses, but on a personal level, they will be glad to hold your phone hostage, to not allow you to use your phone until you pay them money. They will be glad to hold your laptop or your tablet hostage until you pay them some money. They will be glad to go in and get your passwords. If you click, you are allowing them access to your computer. They can go in and get your passwords, and they can sell them on the black market, the internet black market. So Anna Canzano, I've got her name, and I've got her password for her bank account and her account number. I have got her Facebook account, so I can use her account. I can either just sell it and make money, or I can use it to scam other people, and then she's got a mess to clean up because her account was scamming other people. I have got her medical records and medical information, and her kids' medical records and her kids' medical information. I can either use that against her in blackmail. I can hold it hostage for money. I can sell it on the black market, and then someone down the line, maybe in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, they can use that against you. And what can you do if they have your children's medical health history and say, we are going to prevent your child from getting care unless you pay us money? I mean, there's all kinds of things that they can actually do. That one little click gives them, or can give them, so much access to your computer. It just seems like a click, but it's like saying, come on in and just sit down at my computer and dig through everything that you want and find what you need and get all my passwords and all my account numbers, and then walk away and do whatever you want with it.
Wow. So then let's talk about passwords for a second then. How many passwords should you have? How long should they be? And how in the world am I supposed to remember every password for everything that needs a password these days? Because it's really hard.
It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue, and it's a huge destructive issue, because what happens is people go, I don't have a good solution. I will reuse the same password. Well, when one company is breached, like Yahoo or LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, when that company is breached, they take your name, Anna Canzano, and they take that password that you used, and they try it on all your accounts. They do it automatically. They're not sitting there going one finger typing. Yeah. They have bots that can do it and do it millions at a time. And then they break into all your other accounts because you reuse that same password. And everyone goes, what do I do? The one simple answer that no one likes to hear is that you have to use a password manager. And that is a piece of software that you download onto your computer, and it holds all your passwords for you. It's like a little locked closet. Mm-hmm. So you come up with a password for your Facebook account, then you click on the icon of whatever password manager that you choose, you go in there, you put it in, and then you lock it up. And that way, the only password you really need to remember is the one for the password manager. It's like a little safe. So all you have to do is remember that one combo to get in, and then you have access to, yay, all my passwords. So you need a different password for each account. You also need to make it, what they're saying is a minimum of 15 characters. And the easiest way to do it is to do maybe 4 or 5 random words, or to do a sentence. It can't be a common sentence because everyone says, I love Star Wars, and then that's the same thing. So you do that, and it's actually really easy to come up with 5 random words. Yeah. Look around your house.
Right.
Look around, what are you eating for lunch? Because it's going to be different for each one. And then, or you can use a random word generator online. And you then use your one password to get into your password manager, and you stick it in there. And then when it's time, you go back and you get it. Now, a lot of the websites will automate it for you, so you don't have to enter it every time, which is fine. You also want to do 2-factor authentication. It's like, what is 2-factor authentication? That sounds long and complicated, and I don't know what to do. All that is the extra step where, say, you get a code on your phone that you have to enter. Oh, I want to sign on to Twitter. And Twitter says, okay, we'll send you a code on your phone. And you do that. And that is one thing that if the bad guys get your password because you did a lousy job and used the same password, I love Star Wars, on all your accounts, and now they know it, at least with that 2-factor, that second factor, that 2-factor authentication, you get the code, and that can really help keep the bad guys out. So those are the basics when it comes to passwords of what you need to do. You say, password manager, this is confusing. What do I do? Go online and look for companies like PC Mag or Tom's Guide. These are trusted media companies that have written on cybersecurity for many years. Mm-hmm. And look for the best password managers for 2019, and they'll tell you which ones are free, which ones cost money, what the benefit is. If you just go and type in best password managers, you're going to get a bunch of scam sites with the scams doing it. Exactly. So PC Mag and Tom's Guide are 2 really good ones. Wired is another company, another media company that writes about cybersecurity, and you can check on those, and they'll tell you. I mean, I use one, but I'm not going to promote. I don't promote any particular brand. I'm perfectly happy with mine. It works well. The hard part is doing it and setting it up. Yeah. And once you do that, you're golden.
So that can be an app that you download onto your phone as well?
Yes, you can. It can be on both your phone. It can be on all your devices. So that all you have to do is, when you're on your phone, click on it, the little icon for your password manager, and then copy over. You just hit click. You pick out the one you want. Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it Instagram? Is it my bank account? Yeah. And you click on it, and it automatically copies it. And then you have to just go over to the little password space on the page that you're signing in on and click again, click paste, and it puts the long password in there, so you don't have to worry about, oh God, what, 5-letter words about my kitchen did I put in here? So it makes it really, really easy.
So you would recommend that over, for example, Apple offers to save a gajillion passwords for you that you could access with your thumbprint?
Apple, I mean, you can do any kind of password manager you want. What you don't want to do is have your laptop automatically save, or any browser automatically save passwords for you. Maybe if you're on your laptop and you are signing in, the browser, and I know for some people that's an interesting concept, but it's, it's Safari, it's Chrome, it's whatever you're using to look at the internet. It will say, do you want me to save the password for you? Absolutely do not do that, because browsers are vulnerable and have been hacked many times for the passwords. So the best bet is really just get yourself a password manager. That is what security experts believe to be the safest way. And I say most security experts. There are some outliers who have some different things, but the majority say get yourself a password manager.
Very good. Okay, whew, covered a lot of ground. Kerry, thank you so much. For any questions that we didn't cover here in the live interview, I would love if you could go back in and answer them on the posts themselves, if that's okay.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Always glad to help. And people can ping me anytime on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Send me a question, ask your questions. My goal is actually to help protect people and make our world safer. There are so many attackers out there who are just so glad to get the opportunity to connect with us and take our money and our data and our passwords
mhm.
that if we all just move forward together and get safer, we can stop some of that from happening.
Well, I love that mission. So you're a superhero in my eyes, and thank you so much for being on the show. We'll definitely provide all of your contact information on the tip sheet that we create for this episode as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kerry. And thank you for joining us for this episode of That Expert Show. Like I said, we'll create a tip sheet for you that we post on all of our social media sites. You can always connect with us on Facebook at Anna Canzano. You can connect with us on Twitter and Instagram at That Expert Show. You can also go to thatexpertshow.com, our website, to see all the previous episodes and tip sheets. You can watch us live there as well. YouTube is where you can watch previous episodes, and you can listen to us as a podcast on Apple iTunes, Google Play, pretty much anywhere that you listen to podcasts. We're live every Monday at 11 a.m. and here for you. So you really help with your input. Give us a like or a review. Spread the word about That Expert Show, and subscribe if you're listening on a podcast that helps others find us. Thanks so much for being with us for this episode of That Expert Show, where you help run the show.